Today we'll be making Belizean fudge. You're watching the Bear Pantry Show. These are the ingredients that we're going to need to make the fudge. I've measured out already 2.5 cups of sugar right here. We're going to need vanilla extract and only a little bit of that, okay? Here I have some evaporated milk. We're going to use 6 ounces of that. And then of course a whole can of condensed milk. I've got butter. In the book it calls for margarine, but you can interchange that for this. And I've got peanuts and cashews in halves for the nuts that we're going to add to this recipe. Of course you can do it without the nuts, or you can change it for other nuts that you like almonds or pecans or walnuts, but I would chop them. I wouldn't put them in whole. So let's move over to the stove and start adding these ingredients to our pot. So I'm over by the stove. I have a very thick pot. I'm going to get a close-up on that for you, but let me show you. We start by adding the condensed milk to the pot, and then we're going to add all the other ingredients before we turn the fire on, okay? Next I add the sugar, and remember it's a lot of sugar, okay? We're making candy here. Then I'm going to go ahead and add the butter or margarine, whichever one you have. I'm using butter because that's all I have today, but the recipe calls for margarine, but I don't think it'll hurt it. Then I'm going to add the cashews, and you could put more. I'm just putting a little bit because I'm having peanuts also. I may end up getting some more because that looks like a small quantity, huh? A little bit of vanilla extract, or in Belize we know it as vanilla essence. And let me go ahead and light my stove. And I'm starting it on high right now. Let me see if the nuts are going to be evenly distributed. See, it seems like it's a little bit of nuts for what we're doing. And I kind of want to buy nuts in every part of my fudge. So go ahead and add the 6 ounces of evaporated milk. And as I let that start cooking, I'm going to go to the pantry and just grab a handful of each of these nuts to just add some more, because I don't want to skimp on the nuts. That's why I like fudge, because I like the nuts that's in it. So let me go ahead and do that. And then when I come back, we're going to be watching this fudge, and I'm going to time it to see how long it takes to make, okay? Here we are. I just kind of threw a handful of each of those nuts back in there. I bought these nuts because I actually wanted to make Cracker Jacks, but the kids just started tearing into these nuts that I'm like, let me quickly make my recipes before you guys finish it all. So we don't have to stir too much right now in the beginning, but you can see the sugar is dissolving. And it's only been on like a minute. We're going to keep an eye on this because fudge is something that you can't not stay here and watch, okay? And for the people who are not Belizean, I'm thinking you're figuring out by now that fudge in Belize has nothing to do with chocolate. So if it's cooking too fast, I'm going to turn my fire to medium, or turn my heat to medium. See, it's kind of cooking already. Now while this is going on in the beginning stages, I want to get my baking sheets out. Well, one baking sheet because I have a big one, and I'm going to lightly grease it with some butter because that's where we're going to dump this when it's done. So let me just allow this to cook some more. I think I'm going to go ahead and turn my heat to medium because I'm not trusting this kind of too high. So let me reduce it a little bit. We're going to let it cook, and we're going to stir a little bit at a time first, because towards the end we're going to really do some heavy stirring. I want you to know when I turned the fire down to medium, it wasn't really doing anything, so I turned it back up to high, okay? We're just going to have to stay here and monitor it. And this pot, I got it at Walmart for the one viewer that kept asking me where to get like a good thick pot so that she can do the fudge. And this brand is Musa, and this pot was kind of expensive. It was almost $30 for this one pot. And you know that I'm starting to do those giveaways, and every time I'm thinking of ideas for another giveaway, I'm thinking maybe we could do like a pot or something. It's not too hard to mail it away overseas, right? Anyways, we'll come up with good ideas of what we can do for giveaways. I want to try to keep those giveaways going. So this is our Belizean fudge that's in the recipe book, Beans and Rice and Jesus Christ. The recipe for fudge that's at the site already, we put it pretty early on, was called Rosalee's fudge, because that's my mom's fudge. And at the time that we did it, my mom was so desperately ill, fighting stage 4 uterine cancer, and she came up for a visit just to escape being at home locked up, you know. And she was so sick from chemo and all that, but she sat at the bar and she directed me on what to do to make her fudge. She didn't want to give me the recipe for my cookbook when I was doing it, but since then she's changed her mind on a lot of stuff. She really likes my show. She really likes the feedback and the comments that you guys give and enjoys being a part of it. So why don't you guys check out my 100th video that I have at the site for fruit salad. I think I call it the 100th video. And you'll see my mom, so you can see a visible update on her health. She's doing really, really well. She's cancer free. So I'm stirring this because I don't want it to boil over. I don't want it to burn. I might end up turning it down. Let me turn it down a little bit again, just a smidgen. So it's right between high and medium. You kind of want to keep the camera going as long as I can. And this has been going for a good 5 minutes already, by the way. So it's cooking pretty fast. This is nowhere near done. That's the one thing with fudge. It's a lot of long standing and stirring. And it's going to get dark. I mean the fudge. It's going to get dark sooner or later. I just want to keep an eye on it. Let me see if I can stop stirring for a little bit. If it starts acting like it's going to boil over, I'll just stir again. So this is not something that you could put on and then go make your bed or go do the dishes, or you got to stay here and watch this. So I'm going to keep timing it to see how long that we have this going, okay? This is 8 minutes later, you guys. See, it's done. We don't want to go any longer than this and cause it to get too dark or burn. And I've enlisted Joe to help me dump it out so that I can operate the camera. So here we go. Pour it quickly, pour it quickly. There we go. Joe is such a master pro. I just yelled for him and say, come help me pour this out, because the kids ran away and they're not helping me with the camera. So spread it a little bit thinner, Joe. And get the stuff that's in your pot right here. And you kind of want to soak the pot right away so it's not difficult to wash, okay? You hold this for Joe. And if you want your fudge a little bit lighter in color, you could take it off maybe a minute or two earlier, but I think this is dark enough the way I like it. So in about 3 minutes, I'll be back to score it, okay? Before it gets too cool, so a couple minutes later, just take a little knife, not one with a serrated blade or anything, just a smooth blade knife, and just start scoring the pieces that you want to share the fudge, like that. So this is a minute or two later. In another minute or two, it's going to firm up even more. So you just kind of want to score it like that. Some pieces are bigger than others, right? And so that way too. Do it that way. In the last row. And that's it. And you let it sit there and cool down completely. And then you use like a cleaver to just kind of chop the sections. It's not going to be too hard, and it's not going to be too soft like a taffy. So when I come back, I'm going to show you the finished product. Almost time for the finished product. I just have the cleaver. I kind of go through that to separate the pieces. Remember when we scored it earlier? Well, this is just now separating it. I'm going to get these pieces on the plate so you can see the finished product, all right? Let me show you. That's just like the leftovers that we have, because you know how I like to plate things all beautiful. Let me get that piece of crumb out the way. So look at, I just put a nice assortment there. Let me zoom in for you. See how beautiful it is? Very sweet candy. And let me see if I could show you this. See right here in that section? It's all caramelly and nice. Beautiful Belizean fudge. I wanted you guys to see what I do to make my little pictures. This is either pictures that are going to go inside of the book or for my thumbnails. And I just kind of plate the item that I'm doing. And I sit here by my sliding glass door and the dogs salivate. And I put a little like dish towel. I have brand new dish towels that I use just for photo shoot. Look at this little box. Joe made me this little box out of just construction paper, and he just kind of taped it up together. And that's my little light box. I'm not going out and buying a light box just for this. You know, we as Belizeans, we kind of make stuff out of what we have. So one of these pictures is going to end up being the thumbnail for my little fudge recipe. Look at my beautiful 50s hairdo that Jada gave me today. You know, she's been making me over slowly but surely. So she dyed my hair, and she's going to put this video at her channel. I'm forcing her to create a channel. Yes, I'm a mean mom. I'm forcing her. Well, it's time for the Creole word of the day. The Creole word of the day today is cho. And cho is an exclamation, and it means that you don't believe. So like if somebody tells you a story and you don't quite believe it, as a Belizean person, you would say cho. And then it's implied afterwards that I don't believe it. But you don't even have to say the rest of the sentence. All you have to say is cho. Okay, so if you guys don't want your fudge to come out as dark as mine, just shut it off 1 to 2 minutes earlier than I did. It came out pretty good though. It wasn't burnt. It was tasty. I mean, that fudge was gone in seconds. Everybody enjoyed it. They love the nuts, of course, that's in the fudge. And like I said before, you can put any nuts that you want. Now remember, there's 2 recipes for fudge at the site. One for my mom that's called Rosalee's Fudge, and then the one that I made today that I'm calling Belizean Fudge. And this is the one that's actually in the recipe book. Thank you guys so much for watching, for subscribing, for sharing the show with your friends and family, for picking up the book, and for just being a good support system to me. Until I see you guys again, take care.